the first installment in Sony's Spider-Man universe, and boy does it have some history of its own. Ladies and gentlemen, after years of anticipation in wanting Venom to get his very own solo movie, it came into fruition in 2018, starring Tom Hardy as the Slytherin title character. This movie is also infamous for being horrible, and it kind of is when you look at its tone and scares that could have been dialed up a lot better. But the chemistry between Eddie Brock and Venom is genuinely just so much fun. It does also have some good production values with a nice dark approach to the genre, and it's also widely considered to be a so bad it's good type of story, which I 100% agree with. While not an outstanding movie, I still kind of liked it for what it was. Hated it when it released, but it grew on me and it's definitely aged better than it has any right to be. So why is Venom one of the most controversial superhero movies of all time? What new highs and lows did it set for the superhero genre? And how did it earn its place as a flawed but enjoyable outing for its character? In today's movie review, I will be talking about the 2018 SSU movie, Venom. Is it at least enjoyable? Or does it have some room for improvement? Let's take a look. Firstly, starting with this movie's strong points, we will be taking a look at this movie's generally great character chemistry, especially between Eddie Brock and Venom. It's all about having fun with some characters as they get into some silly but very fun action with each other. Tom Hardy provided the voice for both of these characters alongside his own hint of charm to make the story move at a much faster pace, making it look like he's having a lot of fun here, especially when he starts communicating with his title character. Hardy not only has a strong screen presence that blends comic book faithfulness with star power, but his genuine silliness and corniness as Venom was a highlight, bringing about lots of funny moments that never get in the way of its darker tone, even if a grounded superhero movie needs a good sense of humor that isn't forced. Still, this is a very good highlight that literally carries this movie whole. Without it, it would have been one of the most soulless superhero movies ever made without a good sense of character development plastered anywhere in its story. Another major highlight this movie has injected into it is that it does a very good job at blending plenty of good genres, even for a superhero movie. It blends dark comedy with horror, its signature action sequences with a superhero plot makes you want to cheer for its title character, suspense that builds very well with its story, human drama, science fiction, and adventure. It manages to stand on its own very well here, while talking about all these said elements. It brings about something that every comic book lover can enjoy. It also did a very good job on changing the superhero formula up a little bit by blending in horror elements, something that no superhero movie had really done up to this point. If only if it went an extra mile by actually having a stronger rating and having a better tone that offered some more scares. The suspense is definitely decent here, but I think they could have allowed itself to slow down in some parts so that it makes the approach more interesting whilst keeping its signature entertainment value. It was a step up in general, but nothing to write home about. The 2018 Venom movie excels very nicely with a dark visual style, making good use of its atmosphere without becoming too outdated or too dark to make the film hard to see. It's actually got some decent lighting. For instance, Venom's design looks awesome. They focused a lot on his comic accurate design, with the teeth, mouth and tongue being depicted in true design fashion. They also blended visual effects and also even animatronics to make the animation on Venom very realistic. For special effects, they used CGI and practical effects to blend along with its stunt sequences. And finally for the rigs, aka the parts where the team moved Venom's head around, they lifted actors around to correctly position themselves into where Venom would be moved around and stuff. These look really amazing and adds to its advanced technology to new heights. It's probably the peak of Venom being escorted into live action adaptation, as the previous ones in older movies looked really outdated. This one perfectly fits with the comics, and it really makes you feel like you're also part of the action. The film's set pieces that it crafts along the way are very good, and it has a good mixture of special effects and world building. It's perfectly set apart from Disney's Marvel superhero movies, and it's instead a franchise developed by Sony since they held the rights for Spider-Man. In general, the visual effects on Venom make him look amazing and very faithful to the comics. He has a very alien-like design that fits nicely with his symbiote-like nature. The editing is also thankfully great and is probably the best looking movie in the SSU, which isn't really saying much considering their movies look really mediocre. Talking about its introduction for the franchise, it's a very gritty and interesting one, offering plenty of world building for other types of Spider-Man villains. This movie wanted a comedic tone for Venom to fit his character, and I can definitely see what they were trying to go with. If this movie had more connections to Spider-Man, I think it would have been considered to be a decent movie, even though it's already decent on its own. It uses its ideas to the maximum here. Finally, to conclude this movie's positive notes, it has stood up very well for its time, even going as far to have its own little fan base. It's widely considered to be a so bad it's good type of movie, which can also probably be said for the entirety of the Sony Spider-Man universe film series, if I'm being honest here. It's a mindless blockbuster, since if you can turn your brain off for a little while, then you'll definitely have some decent fun out of this movie's antics. Even if the tone is still flawed, it still manages to be a fun ride that appeals to many viewers, and it doesn't limit its appeal. I just genuinely wish that it had blended more horror elements for its direction that it wanted to go. Also, this movie was massively successful at the box office, so it spawned a franchise of films that would be at least enjoyable for people that want to have fun and not care about the film's mindless plot. That's the whole story of the 2018 Venom movie. It's definitely enjoyable, but like I said before, it has lots of ink to inject if it wants to truly stand out for its title character. I have two negatives that drive this movie down very slightly. The first one being that the tone is extremely inconsistent, blending in too many of the same yet so different ideas for a superhero movie. It tries to be a dark comedy film, which can't really achieve due to lacking some good scares. It can't get a good balance down right. It focuses on decent genres, but fails to dive into other unexplored ones. If it wanted to be a horror movie, it should have dialed down on the comedy. If it wanted to be a humorous movie, it should have dialed down on the horror. See what I mean? It's very stupid here. I don't mind a horror movie that has a good sense of humor, or if it's grounded to be more adult oriented, but it feels like this movie can't really succeed at finding out on what movie it really wants to be here. And it really sucks because it's the one big bad quality that holds it back from being what could have been an amazing movie with a bunch of missed potential. And my second negative that I have with this movie is that its violence and gore brings about a very questionable age rating. It's rated PG-13. There's a bunch of dark adult comedy and also loads of horror elements that have graphic violence, gore and scares, but still managed to receive a PG-13 rating instead of an R-rated one. That's what I think could have benefited it so much more. If it were R-rated, it could have went all out on the gore and focused on a good sense of humor that targeted nicely with its older viewers. Deadpool did it 2 years prior to this and neatly benefited its own good. Unfortunately, that can't really be said for Venom. That's a big issue that would also carry with the rest of the Sony Spider-Man universe, with all but one movie using a PG-13 rating yet still going all out on the graphic violence to help limit its targeted audience. It instead comes off as cheesy and cheap. This one is the least affected of them all, but it still could have gone in a much different direction if the developers didn't rush this movie at the last second. Venom is a good adaptation for a beloved Spider-Man villain due to the main ingredients that it mixes into its story. There's a good amount of charm to be enjoyed here. Tom Hardy is always a great star here, and he brings his powers into some good shape or form, showcasing character chemistry and development in more ways than one. The genres it manages to blend aren't as crowded and get their own focuses to make this movie unique in the origin story film catalogue. The dark visual style is really solid, giving plenty of awesome CGI and animation effects for Venom. The set pieces are very good, which helps set the bar for other Spider-Man villains who would eventually get their own origin story. And it has some very strong replay value, being a mindless blockbuster that more than earned the "so bad it's good" title. But my complaint with this movie is the tone had so much potential to inject even more horror elements in this movie so that it can go even further with its black comedy, and the age rating should have been re-established since it doesn't know if it wants to be a PG-13 film or an R-rated one. Despite those complaints, I actually liked this movie. It's only a few steps away from being amazing, but it will definitely entertain if you're a massive fan of the title character. Venom is, although a flawed one, a solid origin story that works as well as what people give it credit for. Venom shoots up plenty of ink into its production values thanks to the effortless charisma of Tom Hardy in the title role, even if at the cost of inconsistency and mindless graphic violence along the way. My final score for this SSU movie is a 8 out of 10 and a grade B+. Even for Sony's attempt at making a Marvel movie, it was a really good attempt at doing so, and I'm just happy that I enjoyed it more than I was expecting. I actually at first wasn't a fan of this movie at all, as I found it to be quite mid, but over the years, it grew on me. I still think that it could have been way more, but who am I to blame when I get to enjoy Eddie Brock and Venom bicker with each other for 2 hours straight? But with that being said, leave a like on this video if you guys did enjoy my review on Venom, and also remember to subscribe if you are new and hit that bell icon to see more content on my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Take care of yourselves.